The Premier League title drought is all too real down at the Emirates. 14 years and counting. Yeah, Arsenal have won an FA Cup or 4 since Arsene Wenger led his team through the 2003-2004 season unbeaten, establishing both the club and himself at the top table in English football. But Arsenal missed out on the Champions League for the first time in 20 years last season. And with Spurs finishing above them for the first time in 22 years, ensuring no St Tottenham's Day, those days of the Invincibles seem a long time ago. But in Sven Mislintat, could Arsenal have pulled off one of the most exciting transfers they've been involved in for years?
Who the fuck is Sven Mislintat?
Sven Mislintat is a very normal guy. He was not very talented as a football player. He didn't have a big career. He didn't have a big career as a coach either. He came in to be the head of scouting for Borussia Dortmund, more or less by accident.
In 2003-04, Dortmund entered a life-threatening profitability and financial situation, accumulating debts totaling £100 million and came perilously close to declaring bankruptcy. Partly out of necessity, the club decided to trust young, cheap or even homegrown players who could hopefully offset their lack of experience with passion and enthusiasm. And Mislintat was employed as a scout in 2006, working closely with sporting director Michael Zorc. His appointment coincided with the Moneyball boom from American Major League Baseball, where analytics in sport became a holy grail. Mislintat, a young sports scientist with a meticulousness to his method, had his big break, which would help him ascend the scouting ladder.
He was very good in organizing the scouting process. So he had, at Borussia Dortmund, he had various kind of scouts, so very young, who are talking the language of modern football. And he had a 70-year-old scout who was a Bundesliga coach in the 1960s. And so he had this variety of opinions on players.
Mislintat was essential in recruiting the likes of Mats Hummels, Jakob Blaszczykowski, Neven Subotic, Sven Bender and Lewandowski, a crop of players that came to be known as the Golden Generation and won back-to-back Bundesliga titles, including Dortmund's first League and Cup double in 2012, as well as reaching the 2013 Champions League final under Jurgen Klopp. His magic in scouting constantly turning massive profits for Dortmund. Shinji Kagawa, who he signed for $350,000, was sold to Manchester United for £15.65 million profit 2 years later. French youngster Dembele had his services captured in 2016 for £13.5 million before signing for La Liga giants Barcelona in the summer for a staggering fee of £96 million plus add-ons, which could rise to £136 million. American wonderboy Christian Pulisic joined BVB for free in 2015 and has been touted as one of the best teenagers in the world following his recent performances.
When I think about Lewandowski and Dembele and Kagawa and the various other players that Sven had an influence in signing at Dortmund, it just makes me believe we're going back to go forward, which is what I want to do. I want to go back to the days where, you know what, let's go and sign this Greek boy who was linked to Udinese and other clubs, and let's just get him to learn his trade, and then eventually he'll become one of the top defenders in the Premier League. And I think that's the way we should be looking at it, as well as bringing in Mkhitaryan, bringing in Aubameyang, bringing a variety people for the future, as well as individuals that will be great right here, right now.
Even after all these massive signings, Mislintat was still a bit of a faceless man to many, but his reputation soared to the extent that Bayern Munich made an attempt to make him their new technical director 2 seasons ago. But a row between Klopp's replacement Thomas Tuchel and Mislintat made headlines, and the seeds of discontent were starting to be sown.
You know, if your head coach can't get along with your chief scout, you have a problem. Normally you solve that by firing the chief scout. And what the club did was they promoted the chief scout, and made him, they invented a new role for him. So, and that told you, number one, is that how highly they regarded Mislintat.
This event is said to have contributed to Mislintat's search for greener pastures, and it was announced in November 2017 that the man nicknamed Diamond Eye in his native country would be transferring to North London just in time for the transfer window, and it is this news which has Arsenal fans buzzing.
The addition of Sven Bagazidis, or whoever employed him at the club, was probably a stroke of absolute genius. And obviously I'm saying that right now without having seen the long-term effects of what he's going to do. But just like I said, I needed people to come in and make drastic decisions. And I just look at some of the things and I'm like, well, Arsenal needed a centre-back. He signed the Greek lad. Wenger didn't know his name. Wenger said he's going out on loan. I'll tell you what, the boy's still at the club. Now, that says Wenger doesn't have the control he once did.
I think he would probably be the first to tell you, that he's not going to turn the club around single-handedly.
I think he needs some time to adjust. He needs some time to understand what's going on, because English football and German football is different.
I don't want to take away from Sven, but I don't think it's exciting because Sven's here. I think it's exciting because we're seeing Wenger lose power, and then you're giving it to somebody who has a track record of being successful. I think that's what it is. Sven could have been anyone, but the fact that it is Sven, we do appreciate it a lot more because he has a very good track record. So I'm just happy that there's change at the club, that as a fan I can see. That's all I've ever wanted, because for a long period of time there was no change.